All right, what's up, guys? The purpose of this video is to bring you an insane, mind-blowing amount of value. And what I'm going to cover with you today will absolutely can double your conversions and your revenue. So what I'm going to share with you today is the 21 secrets of a high converting landing page. Now, over the course of the last 10 years, being a lot of different marketing with a lot of different gurus and agencies and everything, one of the biggest problems I've seen, and when we're spending money for a client, I've spent over $35 million on mostly Google Ads, Facebook, a bunch of other networks, and there's kind of a cardinal sin, well, several of them, that businesses make when they're spending money. So at agencies, we have we have clients come to us with a lot of money to spend on marketing. Like, they have a big marketing budget, they have a great product, they have good staff, they have all the other, like, the infrastructure, they have it in place. But what they're missing is straighten my head out here. What they're missing is they have like a very mediocre or less than mediocre landing page. And what happens is they waste tons of money. They say, no, send traffic here, and they'll waste a bunch of money on a mediocre landing page, and that's bad for everyone. It makes the traffic people look bad because they're like, oh, you're not sending quality traffic, and then anyway. So it's so important. Like, I would argue the most valuable piece of real estate you have, when you're selling anything, product, a service, coaching, it doesn't matter what you're selling, is your landing page. And what I'm going to show you today is stuff that I've taught business owners and individuals and myself, things that I've learned over the years from spending a lot of money that do boost conversions, they do boost revenue. And if you implement these things on your page, I promise you will have much higher conversion rates. So let's jump into it. I'm so excited to share this with you. Honestly, this is information that I was like, I'm a little self-conscious on camera. I'm not gonna lie to you, but this is too good. I mean, I've shared this with so many people. One business owner I shared it with, he has the list of these things hanging right by his office, and he looks at it every day. So that's how it's helped other people make more money, and so I just want to share this with you to help you make more money. So let's jump into it. I'm gonna pull up my list here. This is the 21 secrets. There's actually a couple more than 21, but of a high converting landing page. Now, the first one, and I think it is the absolute most important thing before you ever, for any landing page, for any business, and for people. And it's a little bit of like a ethereal concept, but it is so important, and I just I can't stress it enough. So I'm going to teach it with a little story. There was a company that I was helping. They were spending $2,000 a month in revenue, and in spend, and they were a little bit above break even. They weren't making that much money. I helped grow their company to $50,000 a day profitably. Over the course of it was a couple of years it took to get to $50,000 a day profitably, but we did it, and anyways, it was awesome. But what I learned was that what was happening to the end user, was an industry that I wasn't too familiar with. A lot of the marketing principles we learned, they kind of translate to the things I'm going to teach you. It doesn't matter what you're selling. They're powerful no matter what you're selling. So, I got into this industry and not knowing a lot about it, really happy with my success and everything. But when I learned about kind of how the users were being treated on the back end of the, after we had essentially done our job converting the user, it didn't feel right for me, and I didn't feel like that I was providing value and that I was helping people. In fact, there was, I didn't think that people were being treated right. And so even though, the money was good and I was very proud of my success, I had to leave because I couldn't ethically, I didn't agree with how what was happening to the users on the back end. So the first thing I just want to stress is the first principle, and it may sound cheesy, but it is love. I really think there's a quote by Og Mandino in his book, The Greatest Salesman in the World, that basically says, the greatest sales tool you have is love. And if you love people, if you love what you're selling, if you really believe in what you're marketing, that's going to come through in everything you do, regardless of all the tactics and different granular things you can do. If you have love in your heart for people, then I hope that you will take what I'm about to share with you and you will do it with love. And what you are selling and what you are marketing is helping people, making their lives better, and sharing your love for other people and improving their quality of life. So that's basically the overarching theme I want and context I want to place all of these in. The rest is tactics, and we can get into it. So the first one is love. The second one, this may seem like a no-brainer, but the pixel, the logo. You need a good logo, clear, not pixely. Some of the stuff you wouldn't believe that big businesses are make minor flaws like this. Just have your logo top left, top center. Make it recognizable, not too big, not too small. PNG, fast loading, not a huge file, and also make sure the favoricon's in there. If you're using a page builder, it actually does help conversion rates. If you if when they click on your page, they're not seeing the like a Lead Pages logo or a ClickFunnels logo or something, like have your favicon in the browser window, and then also on your page. So logo, just clear, nice. Number 3. The intent relevant, you want your headline. Number 3 is your headline, and you want it to have an intent relevant headline. So know where the people are coming from, what traffic source. Example, I've driven a lot of search traffic. So on search, if somebody types in, I don't know, like red shoes, your headline needs to match. You can get really granular with like, what the user has typed in, and there's actually, if you get really fancy, you can match the search query of the landing page to the landing page. So your landing page can contain the keyword in the landing page, but that's like V2 of any landing page. So, but with the headline, some things to remember with your headline is it's the first thing the visitor reads, and what's his name? He's a really great marketer. I can't remember his name. I'll find the quote. Anyways, 80% of your ad dollar is spent on your headline. So your headline, I would argue, is the most important part of your page, and communicating your value proposition, what you're selling, and getting the point across. So that's number 3, is your headline. And that is like the most important thing to split test. Whenever we get into a page, we start split testing. Your headline is the first thing. And I have, just hit me up in my email, Josiah@Funnelcraft. And I have this document I've put together of like hundreds of different headlines of different angles. And you can kind of go through with your product and like see how it applies to each one of these headlines. It's a really, really good exercise. So, your headline, very important. Number 2, your sub-headline. The job of the sub-headline is to clarify the headline. So if sometimes your headline, a lot of tech companies do this, they'll make kind of like a vague statement like the power of you defined or something, and you're like, oh, okay. And then, but the sub-headline is where it packs the punch, where they're saying like, this, app or tool can help you reach, whatever the product is. So the sub-headline, the job of it is to go further in depth as the headline, to the headline. So your headline should be powerful, punchy, get your point across, but then your subline, you can clarify, explain, and gives more detail, and makes, kind of reinforces your headline. There's a saying that says, the headline attracts them, the sub-headline makes them stay on the page. So the next thing, number 5, is your hero image. So your hero image is, it's a picture that's showing your product or service in action. It shows the end result of what you're offering. It goes without saying, use high quality images, but not too big. It'll slow your page down. So use like quality, fast images. There's a lot of tools out there that will optimize PNGs to be even faster. There's a couple random points. People smiling, using your product or service has higher conversion rates. And there's a stat out there that says basically people process images 60,000 times faster than they process text. So if you can have an image like this, have a powerful image showing your product or service in action. We want to show them what life is like after they're using your product or while they're using their product. So kind of we're future pacing how they see themselves using your product or service. So your hero image is very important. Number 6 is your attractive core value proposition. So when you have a product or service, it's important to, whether it's your brand or some feature or some ingredient or something, you need to know what makes your product or service different. Like why would people want to work with you rather than working with all the other competitors, or what makes yours better, what makes yours unique? You need to know that. You need to know the key benefit about why people should do business with you. And you want to explain how you're different, how you're better, and what makes you stand out. So being really clear is important with your value proposition. And what helps a lot of times is just a very clear problem solution statement. So example, if you have viruses on your computer, then this, it's kind of like an if-then statement, like a problem solution statement. So if you have virus on your computer, then this software will, get rid of all the viruses. That was kind of a lame example, but essentially, you can Google it, like a clear problem solution statement. That's a way to kind of help find your core value proposition. So moving on, number 7 is feature and benefit oriented explanations. So whenever we meet with a client, we always think about like, what's the top 3 problems, 3 features, 3 benefits that their product does for people. We were working with a sod client recently. They sell sod, and they're comparing sod with hydroseed, and they're saying like, look, hydroseed sucks because it takes months to water. Your yard's a mess. There's a lot of weeds that grow. It can grow patchy. So they're pointing out all the problems with like the maybe like the traditional method, and then like why sod is better. It takes 3 years. It takes 3 years of manicuring and even watering, and like tender loving care essentially to get this sod that is that you can install in your house that day. So the feature is that it's been grown for 3 years, right? So that's a feature, but the benefit is you can install the sod, you can install the turf, the grass at your house today, and it's healthy, it's ready to go, and it's done for you. You don't have to wait months and months. So you can play benefits of the benefit. I always ask myself like, what's the benefit of the benefit, right? So the feature is, our grass is very healthy, it's very high quality. Well, what that means is the benefit of that, you can have a healthy lawn. And if you have a healthy lawn, then maybe you can play with your kids. And, you can make good memories and more family time, and then, like quality of life and everything. So you just kind of go down the chain of the benefits. So this took me a little while when I was first starting out in marketing, to kind of differentiate the purpose. Like the feature is like what it does, but the benefit is like why. What's the benefit of the feature? Like, how does it help you? And there's a difference there. So you just, this, I'll use my iPhone case as an example. So the feature is it holds all my credit cards. Well, and the benefit is like, I guess, it's more compact. It's more, I can take it with me more. It's, I don't have to carry a wallet, and yeah, it's like, it's just like the benefit, or the benefit of the feature. It's like a folding thing. Anyways, you get the point. So I'm just, off the top of my head here. So features, know the features of your product. This lawnmower has, 1/4 inch thick blades, so it cuts through grass really fast. That's the benefit. So the feature is that it has really sharp blades. The benefit is it cuts really clean and even on the grass. And just know that different. Okay. Anyways, next one. Number 8, relevant pictures. So going back to the sod example, we're gonna have pictures showing, like, in infomercials where it's like the grayed out version. They're like, oh, this is the pain, this is the horrible thing. I have to wait for months for my lawn to grow, and my kids can't play in the yard, and it's muddy, and it's patchy, and it's ugly, and it's weed. You can illustrate all that. Like, you can take pictures of kind of that scenario, and then you can have pictures of the pleasure side of things, where it's like, oh yay, we're happy family, we're playing in our yard. So having relevant pictures that increase the pain of the problem and increase the pleasure of the ended solution. And then also images. It's really important to have images, like, in how it works. A lot of landing pages now you can do a GIF, essentially, if it's an app, having an action GIFs. But yeah, relevant pictures are really powerful, depending on what you're selling. So number 9. Now, this is kind of a theme, like more of a principle in your copy when you're writing your landing pages. You want to really, number 9 and number 10 kind of go together. So number 9 is turn up the pain. Number 10 is turn up the pleasure. So number 9, we turn up the pain, and there's an illustration I really like. It's called cut alcohol Band-Aid. So, we make a cut. This is kind of morbid, but we make a cut, like, figuratively. We point out the problem of what is happening, why somebody needs our service. Like, the problem with most business owners is they are wasting tons of money sending people to a crappy landing page, and they're bleeding out money all over the table, like, not, and they don't even know that they're wasting all this money. And then we want to turn it up even more. This is, then you get frustrated, and then you think Google doesn't work, or you think Facebook doesn't work, because you're, like, bleeding all this money all over the place. And then, it's like a domino effect, that can affect the rest of your business, and you think, oh, I'm a failure. So a lot of these problems can come from having a bad landing page. So I'm right there, I'm like cutting alcohol, pouring alcohol in the cut, I'm making it burn. I'm helping them see, like, all the problems that, are from this and come from this. And it's like, you help people realize all the peripheral problems of not having what you're selling is happening to them. So we cut, we turn up the pain, and then number 10, we turn up the pleasure. So we put the Band-Aid, we provide the relief. This is how my product or service, our coaching, if we build a landing page for you, or our coaching is going to increase conversion rates and give you confidence when you're buying traffic, that that you have all of the secrets of a high converting landing page. So basically, you're turning up the pleasure, you're showing the end result, you're making them feel good, and providing them relief to the problem that you just agitated. So that's important. The more you can do that, like, provide that extreme on the landing page, the better your conversion rates will be, because they'll really identify and feel the problem, be like, oh yeah, I really relate with that. And then they'll see, it's an obvious solution. Your product or service is an obvious solution when you're able to provide that relief from that problem. So The next thing, 11. I love this one because I think this is one of the biggest conversion boosters that we have to manipulate humans. Just kidding. It's trust boosters. So, you've heard the whole sheep mentality thing. If a lot of people like something, it's kind of, those people will give you the benefit of the doubt if other people like it. So there's a few ways to boost trust though. So there are reviews, testimonials, awards, as seen ins or featured ins, celebrity endorsements, other accolades like things, recognitions you've received, and results, before and afters. I love before and afters. So yeah, each one of those things is really powerful. Having reviews, having testimonials, having awards you've received, as seen in, having, you can get a celebrity in and endorse what you're doing. That's great too. This Trust Boosters is definitely one of those things that can really, really amplify your conversion rates. The more trust, the more like social proof is another name for it. More social proof we can provide to people, the more likely they are to buy. So if you can show other success. And a couple little insider tips on this stuff. So with testimonials, I really like to get testimonials to speak to the objections of the potential customer. So if, we'll go back to grass, the sod. So the customer, well, sod's too expensive. We'll have a testimonial that will talk about, it was actually way cheaper than I thought. And the time we saved, having a lush grass and it was totally worth it, just having it installed that same day rather than waiting, months and months for HydroSeed. So, I hope that makes sense. So the testimonial speaks the objection. So think about, and you'll know when you start marketing your product, like why people aren't buying or your sales guys might tell you like, why people aren't making a decision or aren't buying or didn't go with you, and you can speak to every one of those in your testimonials and in your reviews. So that's good. The frequently asked questions is a good place to do that as well. So the next step, I love that one, by the way, number 11, trust boosters. Just pack your pages full of as much social proof as you can. And I've seen landing pages before that converted pretty well that was just like, it was mostly social proof. It was just people saying, oh, this is awesome, I love it, thank you so much, and it worked. I mean, I bought off pages like that. So all right, next, number 12. The structure of your page. So we're going to start with our number 1. That's the 4-step structure flow. So we're going to start with the explanation 1. Number 2, we're going to continue with our feature and benefits. Number 3, that's where you put your social proof testimonials in. And number 4, a call to action. So just at a high level structure, we're saying what it is. We're going in depth about what the features and benefits are. Then the social proof, then the call to action. So that's just like, I like to think of that as like a high arching framework of landing pages. Number 13, we'll get into, is a meaningful guarantee. So a great way to increase conversion rates is to offer some sort of money-back guarantee that builds trust and reverses the risk of your customer. So we all like, if we're not happy, we can get our money back. So however you do that. A lot of people do 30-day guarantees. It depends on what you're selling. So I'll let you figure that out. This is some way to take away the risk if they're not happy. Number 14, security. Now, security, when I say security, we've seen a big boost in conversion rates when you add SSL to pages. A lot of networks won't even let you run. Well, they won't even let you run, or they'll limit your traffic if you're buying paid traffic like we do. They won't even let you run, or they'll limit impression share, like how often your ad is shown, if your pages aren't secure. Having HTTPS and an SSL certificate. So there's places that will do that for free. Or if you want to pay for one, it's like 100, 200 a year. So definitely worth it though. Huge boost. Just having, you land on a page, you see that little lock icon. People are paying more attention to that now, whether the page is secure. And Google, like Chrome, the browser Chrome, just calls out not secure on your page. And that's kind of a red flag. So yeah, having your security, I would say that's the biggest point I want to make on security. Yeah. Number 15 is a strong call to action. Call to action button is, I like to make them a contrasting color to the theme, the general theme and color layout of the page. I like to split test in buttons, whatever you want them to do. Claim my bonus, register for the webinar. I kind of like to make it like first person for them, like claim or secure my spot. Secure. So they're like, as they're reading the page, it's a call to action that they read myself, like secure my spot, if they're like telling themselves to do it. So yeah, I like that. And rather than secure spot, secure my spot. That's a little hack. You can test it. I mean, some of the stuff I'm going to share with you is definitely you want to split test having it or not. But yeah, so that leads me to my next one, legal stuff. Now this is super boring, your privacy, your disclaimer, your terms, but I think it's arguably one of the most important things to making money, because you can't run on Facebook or Google or a lot of these ad networks, unless you have all of your GDPR, your privacy, your claims, and I have tools for all this stuff I'm going to share with you. Just hit me with an email, josiah@funnelcraft.co, and I will send you a toolkit of stuff that we like for each one of these things. Little like conversion or little hacks for each one of these things, templates, like hacks, tools for each point here. So the legal stuff, privacy, disclaimers, terms and conditions. You can get all that stuff in like a box usually, and modify it just to your company. So, and contact info. Whenever we submit, like when we're launching on Google looks at all that stuff. They make sure you're legitimate, make sure you're a real business, and phone number, having your phone number on there. At least, well, you have to have it somewhere, like in the disclaimer or terms or something. So that leads to my kind of overarching premise of authenticity. We have to be authentic in our marketing and make sure what we're sharing is real. Make sure we're a real business. All right, so next one, 17. This is, wow, man, if I had like $1 for every time we had to I'll talk to a client about this, I'd probably be a thousandaire. Yeah, talk to a lot of clients about this problem. So speed. You can go to speedcheck.com. Speed. GTmetrix is a good one. Just Google speed test. And then there's actually a Chrome extension. I'll include it in the toolkit that looks at your speed. So the average user expects your page to load in 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Some of our clients came to us and they're like, pages are loading at 15 seconds. What? You're losing so much money. It's like a waste. I don't have 15 seconds to wait for your page to load. Nobody does. There's a study where I believe Cloudflare did it, where they anything over 5 seconds, the conversion rate just like it's like a fourth of what it was. Under 2 seconds, it was like around 1.9% conversion rate, and then they tested the speed. As they increased the speed, for every second, it was almost like the conversion rate just went in half or a fourth for every second. So that's a big deal. I mean, that's a ton of money. If we're doing volume, another 0.5% increase in conversion rate, could mean hundreds of thousands of dollars over the year. So that's important. Speed. The most common problem I see with speed is people load their pages full of huge images and it slows everything. It takes forever for the page to load. So like I said earlier, go to like optimize your images, minify. I'm not going to get too techie codey, but like minifying your JavaScript. There's a bunch of things you can do to make your page really fast. And a lot of these places, GTmetrix, Google Page Speed Test, they'll tell you what's wrong with your page. So, yeah, get your speed down under 2 seconds. Under 2 seconds. Cardinal rule. Under 1, that's great. Yeah. So, the next thing that is a huge booster of conversions and revenue, number 18 we're on, is tracking. So, again, it may seem very obvious, but if your tracking is in place, don't buy a cent of traffic, because you're basically spending money blind. If you want to know, if people are converting, if people go and look at your page, and tracking covers a lot of things. So there's different things you can add to your page. There's a company called Hotjar that's really good. They'll watch your visitors, see how they interact with your page, and or like ClickFlow does it. There's a bunch of, and I can include these in the toolkit, but like VWO, Optimizely, some of these companies, like you can track essentially what's happening. And also you need, and every single ad network that you're buying has a pixel. And a pixel is, so if I'm buying traffic in Google, they're going to give me this little chunk of code that needs to go on every page, like the global pixel on every page of the site. That way, if a user visits, we'll use SOD as an example again. If they visit the landing page, or they visit the About Us page, or they visit, the cart page, or they added something to cart, like there's a pixel that tracks all of that stuff. So you can, not only can you retarget those users depending on what page they visited later, but you can fire. It'll pass the metrics back. If you're tracking someone in place, you can't tell if somebody converted within the ad network that you're buying. So in Google, I want to know if sod Boise, that keyword, I want to know if it's converting. And if it's not converting, I wouldn't know if my tracking's not working. So you need to make sure your tracking's in place. There's a global pixel, and then they'll usually give you another sub pixel that needs to be on the individual pages of whatever you're tracking. So if my flow is after the landing page, they buy, and then they go to a thank you page, I want to put that sub pixel on the thank you page so it fires. Whenever the page loads, the pixel fires, and it'll pass that information back to my ad network and tell me if somebody bought. And you can attach, you can say, every time that this pixel fires, it's worth $97. And you can send that back, and then I can know that this keyword or this ad or this video generated $1,000 or something, and this one made no money, so I'm going to pause the one that made no money. Anyways, so that's getting into tracking. Make sure your tracking's in place. It gets a lot more robust and complicated than that, but at a high level, you need to make sure your tracking's in place before you spend money on any traffic or send traffic, because if you can't measure it, you can't improve your conversions. You can't improve your revenue without tracking. So next, that's tracking leads me into split testing. I mentioned VWO and Optimizely. Don't send any traffic unless you're testing something, at least a headline, at least a hero image, at least some features and benefits. There's really, really simple split tests that you can do. And when I say split tests, I mean you're sending traffic, and then 50 users see one page and 50 users see the other page, and you've modified it slightly, whether it's a different headline, different image, whatever, and one of them will be better, one of them will win, and then you take the winner and then you split test that page. So what happens is, over time, your conversion rate, the money you make, goes higher and higher and higher based on the same traffic that you're sending. Because what you're doing is you're figuring out what's resonating better with your people. Quick example, I like to do this with ads, right? When we're buying on GDN, which is Google's display network, I like to create 20 different. First, I'll write a ton of different headlines, a bunch of different angles, about this, essentially the same thing, but coming up with different angles or ways to say something for the landing page that we're sending to, and then we'll create 300 by 250 ads out of them, and then we'll split test all those ads against each other, and then we can tell by the click-through rates which ad is kind of resonating the best with the audience that we're targeting. So yeah, we can do the same thing on our landing pages, is what language resonates better and leads to higher conversions. Love split testing. So that's number 19. Again, that's an industry of itself, conversion rate optimization with number 19. Number 20, this one's a little bit debatable, but I love it, is having live chat on your page. I like being able to reach out to somebody. What I've found is people are usually 1 or 2 questions away from buying. And if they don't get those questions answered, then you lose a sale, you lose a visitor, and it could have been a good visitor, a good sale. So I like having live chat on my pages and clients' pages, because if they need help right away, that's available to them, especially on landing pages where we're making the sale. Sometimes you can get like support type queries in there, but it's okay. So I like having live chat. I've seen an increase in conversions from that, and it actually helps me learn about what the customer is thinking when I have live chat on the page. Like, what are they thinking about right when they're looking at my copy, when they're looking at my page. Yeah, so that helps. Number 21, also a little bit debatable, but I don't know. I like to have social share buttons. I don't like to put a ton of prominence on them. It depends on the kind of landing page I'm running. Like if we're running like a review type lander, I like having social share buttons, because if it's like a blog style review lander, or if it's just a direct, kind of like sales page type lander, if it's good stuff, it'll get shared. So I usually like to have some social share buttons in the footer. Number 22. So I worked with a company that they did this thing where for every one purchase people bought, they donated one of their products to help a woman, or help their audience, to help somebody else for free. So that worked really well. Like, it really resonated with their audience. I give this, this model doesn't really jive with every product or service, but I think it's really cool, and I've seen a benefit from it. So that's something to split test. For every X product sold or X service, we donate something to somebody. Kind of adds that it's like the philanthropy element to it. For a cause is what I call it. So number 22, for a cause. Number 23, and this is more important than the last one, but number 23 is urgency. You want to have, you want to answer the question, why should they take action today? What are you going to do for them today or very soon to encourage them to take action? So this is another name for this is scarcity, urgency, scarcity. You can offer bonuses. You can offer, you can close down the offer. The price can go up. There's a lot of different ways to inject urgency and scarcity. Do it ethically. If you're going to take something away, then actually take it away. To be ethical when you're doing urgency and scarcity, but give them a reason to take action right now. And sometimes you can do that with salespeople. Call them and say, hey, look, if you want to pull the trigger, I'm going to throw in this extra bonus for you. So that's another way to get urgency and scarcity. But the principle is answer that question. Why should, what will motivate them to take action today, rather than saying, someday, right? Car salesmen know that if they come on the lot, people come on the lot and they don't, take action, then the chances of them taking action later are very low. So the next one, 24, is design. Now there's just few key points about design. Like, have a style guide. Okay, know what your fonts are, know what your fonts are, know what your colors are, and know what your have a style guide. Essentially, it's a brand guide, but make sure things are clean, congruent, and nice use of white space. You don't want it all clumped together and nasty. Just make it look nice. That's it. So the biggest tips there is just have a style guide, and it's so easy to crank out landing pages if you know your main color. And a lot of times you can pull this from your logo, but just making your headlines, match the red that's in your logo or something. Just make it all congruent and beautiful, and that helps build trust. So I would argue that the most important part of a page is the copy, what you're saying, but designed well, it does boost trust. And that's what we want to convey our value and build as much trust as possible with our potential client. And number 25, this is kind of a random, there's a lot of little random things you can do. I realize we're way over 21 secrets. Well, now we're not way over. This is only 4 over. These are bonus secrets. Okay, bonus secrets. So number 25, a benefit-based URL. So Google lets you in their ads, write like what's in the / my domain / free / webinar or something. So you can do the same thing with your URLs. Try to communicate the benefit of what you're selling in the URL. Funnelcraft.co / double your conversions. That's a good one, because it's like, oh, the whole point of this page is to double my conversions, double my revenue. So, all right, that's a lot. If you sat through this training, hat tip for you. And I love this stuff. Oh man, it is responsible for a lot of sales. And I want to send you, basically, I want to provide value to you. And if you want to work with us, if you want us to help you build a page, if you want to get coached to build your page in a really amazing way, hit us up. If you want the toolkit of all the different stuff, the tools we like for live chat and different, there's just a bunch of tools and this huge marketing Rolodex that we've kind of put together over the years of people and things that we like to use to maximize each one of these principles the most we can. Oh yeah, what the heck? All right, number 26, I'm adding one more. I just remembered one more. So the real-time conversion notifications. So-and-so bought sod in Boise, Idaho. You've seen those pop up in the bottom left. There's a couple good companies that do that. That's another conversion hack. What the heck? That was supposed to be on my list. So yeah, real-time conversion notifications, those are good. That's another hack to boost conversion, boost revenue. Anyways, if you want the toolkit, send me an email, josiah@funnelcraft.co. And I'm very grateful if you sat through this training. And I know that it will just take each one of these things and implement it in your pages. It's going to make you more money. I promise you that. It's going to make you more conversions. And you're going to be confident. You're going to be happy to send traffic to your pages because you know this stuff now. And I showed you it. So I take full credit for all the money you're going to make from here on out. Anyways, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to stop this video. Nice to meet you. Follow me somewhere, anywhere. I have places to follow me. And we will hopefully talk again soon. Thanks.